The Broncos traded back into round 3 of the NFL draft to select LSU defensive end Sai'vion Jones. So let's break down the pick here, talk about the player, then I want to talk about everything Denver did in day 2 and my grades for the picks. But the Broncos were done in day 2 after picking in round 2 and round 3, but they made a deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. They went from 111 up to 101. And in exchange for that, they give the Eagles an earlier 3rd-round pick and a 6th-round draft pick. So their draft capital for tomorrow just got 1 pick lighter, but they did get the Eagles' 4th-round pick in return. So let's talk about who Sai'vion Jones is, and then I'll tell you my overall thoughts on the pick. 1, you're getting a, great mold of an NFL defensive end. This is what you're looking for from a height, weight, length type of defensive end at the next level. He was a 2-year starter for the Tigers, played 4 seasons down in Baton Rouge, a 4-star recruit coming out of Louisiana. Now, he never really had the big production that teams were looking for. That was their earlier pick in Pat Bryant, but now we'll look at Sai'vion Jones' stats from this year as he put up 4.5 sacks, 43 pressures, so the production is why he is a pick 101 guy. He's got prototypical, I'd say above average NFL height, weight, size for a defensive end. He just never was able to really, put it all together in college. There's a little bit of inconsistencies altogether, but the profile is there. So if you're one of those people that go, you can't teach speed, you can't teach height, he's your man. But he's a little bit stiff, as Tom Downey points out. But I feel like this is a pick where Denver goes, I know we just led the NFL in sacks a year ago, but we've got John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen entering contract seasons. So if we just want to have a little bit of an insurance policy, plus, can you ever have enough pass rushers? I don't think so. So Denver does add to their defensive line. In a 3-4 defense, I expect him to be like a 5 technique, right, where Zach Allen and John Franklin Myers play. So he's not going to step on Jonah Ellis or DeAndre Tillman's toes when it comes to getting snaps. I think he's going to slot in with, Wazirike and Jackson and Henningsen and compete for snaps in a rotational spot with Allen and John Franklin Myers. Overall, I like this pick for Denver. I was a little surprised they jumped back into round 3, but we know how valuable cornerstone positions like pass rusher are. Teams feel like you can never have enough of them. So not a huge whopping surprise that with Denver's first 4 picks in the draft, one's a corner, one's a pass rusher, because those are building blocks for NFL teams. So here's the trade once more. Denver does give up a draft pick for day 3 in the process, so a little bit later on Saturday now, but they go out and get a pass rusher who they feel can be a big piece of that rotation. So Sai'vion Jones, the 4th pick altogether in the first 2 days. My grade for Sai'vion Jones, and then I'll do grades for these 3 guys or these 2 guys right here. But starting with Sai'vion Jones specifically, since he was the last pick, I'm going to give this one like a B-, which I don't think every pick has to be an A in order for it to be positive. Personally, I would like a couple more B-minuses in college. So not a bad grade in my opinion. I think Jones is going to be a nice rotational piece. If he can pop up to 6 sacks and, be a career path of a John Franklin Myers, I think we'd all be very happy with that. Now, before we look at the rest of what Denver did in day 2, quick shout out to all of you who have subscribed to the channel. Greatly appreciate you supporting us. But if you haven't yet, help us reach 35,000 subscribers. Scroll on down, click the subscribe button for the best free Broncos draft content out there. So let's get back to what Denver was doing overall in day 2. But first, a shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Game Time has an awesome deal for Broncos country. They make getting tickets faster and easier, even for hard-to-get playoff seats. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to tip-off. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA playoff tickets. Save up to 60% off buying last-minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So looking at day 2 as a whole for the Broncos, this might be my favorite. Actually, it is my favorite pick. I know that everyone hates the guy who's a bit of a Debbie Downer during the draft, and we're all supposed to be optimistic, and we're all supposed to love every pick, and they're all going to be Hall of Famers. I don't know what to make of these. RJ Harvey is a bit of a smaller running back who's got some, good power for his size, but I would have preferred Caleb Johnson 10 times over 10, right? Next, they took a wide receiver that no one had heard of. Pat Bryant out of Illinois. Most people thought he'd be like a round 5 guy. He's like a Cortland Sutton, like a Kirkland Sutton. That's, I guess, not the worst thing in the world, but there were better options out there. I know that Sean and George Paton know more than I do. I'm just a YouTuber. I know. You're not telling me anything I don't know. But also, are GMs and coaches always right when it comes to the draft? If I had said Paxton Lynch was a bad pick, would you say, you don't know what you're talking about. You're not smarter than the head coach or the GM. I'm going to let's go with first the RJ Harvey pick. I'll give a grade for that, and then the Pat Bryant pick. So Sai'vion Jones, I gave a B- to. RJ Harvey, C-. I think Sean Payton's making it clear he wants to have a committee backfield. RJ Harvey can excel in one area and may not be great in other areas, but that's what you got Estime and McLaughlin for. I would have preferred to just go out and get a bell cow back. Sure, that's not what Payton wants to do, but his system hasn't worked the last 2 years. And I feel like Johnson would have been a much better solution to that problem. Then you go with a wide receiver from Illinois in Pat Bryant. I'm going to give this one a D+. I want to be wrong. I'm not rooting for them to suck, but I also don't want to just pump your tires and tell you every pick's an A. So I give this one a D+. There were receivers out there like Jalen Knoll from Iowa State, Elick Iomanner from Stanford, who I thought would have been better picks at that spot. So overall, recapping Denver's day 2, Jahdae Barron, I woke up this morning feeling more confident about than I went to bed last night thinking. I don't think tomorrow when I wake up I'll feel that same way about these picks right here. No. So I'm going to give Denver for day 2, a C-. Draft grades are dumb. They are dumb. I'm doing it and I think it's dumb. We're not going to know for another 3 years. But if you just kind of want to scratch that itch of, what do you think? I think it's a C-. I think with all 4 of these picks, it's a C. Jahdae Barron's a great best player available. These 2 I don't really like. Sai'vion Jones at 101, that's par. So how would you grade the picks? C- for me. For day 2, altogether, I give it a C. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. We will be back tomorrow, of course, for day 3 of the NFL Draft. So if you want more coverage on your favorite team, click that subscribe button down below. Lock yourself in for some of the best free Denver Broncos YouTube content out there.